Hello, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of No More Kids in Scientology. And in today's episode, you guys, we're going to continue reacting to the child RPF corporate media tonight Australian show that 14 years ago discusses what Scientology did to an underage child, purporting that they were rehabilitating the child by punishing the child. So this is where we are, and let's pick it up.
Shane Kelsey's mother and father were dedicated Scientologists in Sydney, so they put their son Shane into its highest core at the age of 6. Little Shane moved into a tiny room with 11 other children, and so it began. By the age of 7,
we'd go down the streets. I mean, there'd be like 8 of us, 10 of us, young as, and we'd just go pledge people to drug-free lives and things like that.
How old were you when you did that?
I first started doing that when I was 7.
So here we go with the image laundering system that Scientology uses to purport that they really want to help people by telling people to really get off drugs and to use, including but not limited to 7-year-olds, to go make that case. So at 6 years old, the parents brought him in to the Sea Org. So again, it's unthinkable. It's disgusting what they're doing to kids. And this is why we need to keep highlighting how atrocious and disgusting it is that Scientology keeps perpetrating abuse on minors inside of their hotels, literally without anyone caring.
I signed my contract when I was 8 years old.
And what was the contract for?
It was the Billionaire contract.
Billion-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean?
That means your service and you're volunteering or servicing the church for the next billion years.
So signing the billion-year contract at 8 years old, to be a volunteer, to be enslaved. And yet again, we're going to be making this point because while adults can relinquish their civil liberties, while adults can relinquish being treated with dignity, while adults can relinquish being free people and, role play, being subjugated and turned into real-time slaves, while they all play some infantile game about how they're saving the world by degrading each other, saving the world by humiliating each other, saving our world by keeping each other kidnapped inside hotel rooms. That is all stuff that adults can sign up to, and no one can come and intervene between adults putting themselves on that level of extreme. But once again, corroborating how an 8-year-old was made to believe that they could volunteer to be slaves. In what world are 8-year-old children being allowed to think that it's they who are signing up to be slaves in so-called countries that are all about law and order, all about having all manner of platitude laws on the book that Australia is not following, that the United States of America is not following?
How often did you see your parents when you were in there?
I saw them once a week.
Shane's mother and father would soon separate, and his dad, Adrian, left Scientology and moved overseas. The work schedule for children in this hellhole was full-time, hard, and without reward.
You were working 35 hours a week when you were 8 years old.
How many hours a week did that grow by the time you were, say, 14?
By the time I was 14, I was working in the kitchen.
Every morning, a military muster required marching and saluting to the cause of saving mankind from the intergalactic ravages described by its science fiction founder.
We used to do marching, close order drilling and things like that.
What for? Were you preparing for battle?
No, just because it was a form of discipline.
And yes, you guys, I mean, it might look ridiculous. It might look stupid. Why were children being told to go left, 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 right, left, close order drilling in the RPF? That's how these adults that are all role-playing, saving a world, operate. That's how all of these Scientology adults that love being humiliated, love being trampled on, love pretending that you couldn't be more about saving a world if you weren't literally exposing underage kids to disgusting, inappropriate, close order marching, drilling, to, continue to perpetuate the lie that they're part of some elite unit of what? It's all paramilitary role plays, what these adults are into. Dressing up all the kids as if they were in some sort of military, having all the adults pretend that they are part of some military and demand. Let's not forget that the adults demand to be spoken to as if they're lieutenant commanders of something, a la Debbie Cook. I want to be called Mr. Cook. No one call me Debbie because I'm such a lieutenant commander. Really going to save a world. Let me just, child traffic a few more children into my hotel, would say Debbie Cook every Thursday at muster. Why are you not getting your recruitment quotas met, recruiters? I'm going to send you to eat rice and beans for not recruiting me enough kids this week. It's a flop. That's what Debbie Cook would call it. Oh, it's a flop. You didn't recruit enough children for me to abuse this week. Oh, no, excuse me, to really save a world. I mean, it's so pathetic, it's disgusting.
They wore all black uniforms, required to run always, never walk. So-called homeschooling was provided in fits and starts, taking a back seat to hard labor and brainwashing.
As soon as you turn 15, anyone, you're straight out of school. Doesn't matter what grade you're in, what level of literacy, what level of maths, what level of anything. You're straight out.
The mess halls.
As soon as you turn 15, they're out of school regardless of the literacy stage. In Scientology, you were only as useful as you could be doing their bidding. Children are only commoditized, objectified. Because if they're not doing L. Ron Hubbard's bidding like the rest of the adults, then the children couldn't be more useless or pathetic. So 15 years old is what this kid in Australia were facing, being locked up in these disgusting prison camps.
Served food priced at 30 cents per meal, mostly beans and rice. Those who dared question the brutality of this place were dealt with swiftly and severely.
And give it up to Scientology's favorite meal of all time, beans and rice. Because already you were getting the shittiest, most disgusting meals at 30 cents a meal. But if you effed up, you can go below that. If you effed up, you could just be on beans and rice for as long as the executives wanted you to stay on beans and rice to really, get your ethics in, is how they would call it. That's how it would be pitched. Oh, we're really doing you a favor by giving you beans and rice because you know what? After you eat these beans and rice for 2 weeks and we literally humiliate you, abuse you, then you're going to feel like you're really going to save our world and you're really going to get your ethics in and you're going to be all about whatever in the hell they're pitching inside of the hotels.
They used to live under our squash courts. It's mud. It's just a dirt floor. We put people in there, and they live in there.
By the age of 15, Shane was living a nightmare even he now struggles to believe.
As soon as I turned 15, I was doing 7 days a week, 14-hour days.
See, that's 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
You guys, in Scientology, they own you through and through. And again, all adults signing contracts to be owned as slaves were perfectly aware of what they were signing up to. Was perfectly made clear and upfront that they were going to be enslaved, they were going to be locked up, and they were going to be able to go nowhere. That was very made clear to all the adults involved. But what were the adults getting out of it? Glad that y'all asked. Glad, because so much of that is always missed as to what in the hell these adults are getting as a deal, as they sign up to be the staff members of a hotel where they get unfettered access to abuse underage kids, unfettered access to abuse them. They will never see the Clearwater police giving an F. They can, grape them. They can have full-blown pedophiles in there. They can have all of that is going to be Scientology helping those abusers escape real-life consequences, selling them BS, float your needle programs to circumvent the law. So that's what all of these minors are literally facing. Lawless adults, lawless commercial buildings where the rule of law does not exist whatsoever.
In a commercial kitchen, Shane and other children slaved away, cooking meals all day, every day.
And again, to make the point of the Scientology parent that just 6 weeks ago, Sonny Jensen pitching, you can have a 6-year-old making your meals, slaving away in commercial kitchens, making meals. So let that really fully sink in, because it couldn't corroborate itself more and more and more. Is the year 2024, why are children being tapped at 6 years old to be making meals?
Studying and snatching what little sleep they could.
We'd get anywhere between $4 pay to $35
$35 a day.
a week.
That's completely unacceptable. But there's no law in New South Wales that makes it illegal to work a child for those hours. Now, that's extraordinary, but that's the case.
So let's really give it up to Australia, who has no law. You can work a child to death over there, and you're going to get away with it because this South Wales lawyer just told us how it doesn't matter how much you overwork them. So this kid here that was stuck in a commercial building for 14 hours, apparently, if anyone in Australia really wants to do that, it's all a free-for-all in that country to run that lawless and to be that depraved. And apparently they're applauding it. Apparently there's nothing that has changed as of the year 2024 to rein any of this back. But let's not forget that children don't just end up in commercial buildings doing that work. They also end up inside of the hotel rooms doing what? Massages on adults. Doing what else? Interrogations on adults. Doing what else? Ethics handlings on adults. What else do children end up inside of these hotels doing? Grooming courses. Supervising adults on grooming, disgusting courses where they use dolls to normalize the abominations. All the abominations that the convicted felon pitched are normalized by these adults. So would be great to understand in what world is Australia okay with children doing those type of role plays, extreme role plays with adults. Why is Australia calling that a religious experience that a child is having for themselves? Because right about now, that's the explanation we need from the Australian authorities. In what world are you, Australia, allowing children to be literally objectified and put in positions to be told that it's they who need to handle the ethics of a self-admitted, including but not limited to, pedo?
Among those who needed to be fed was billionaire James Packer. For several years, beginning in 2002, Packer came to the Church of Scientology early in the mornings to receive auditing.
So not the billionaires a la Jeffrey Epstein making use of the child slave labor. I mean, as if you really had to like go through a checklist to show you how Epstein-based Scientology is on steroids. Billionaires, check mark. Massage tables, check mark. Video recorded sessions of massages with adults, check mark. Essaying children inside of the hotel rooms and having a video recorded, check mark. Billionaires running around to come get serviced inside of these hotels, including but not limited to children, check, check, check. So this is what you have coming to get service inside of those hotels. The billionaire class.
And instruction.
How much did you get paid for cooking meals for James Packer?
I didn't get paid anything extra. There was no bonus or anything. It was just the meal you cooked.
There's no suggestion Mr. Packer had any idea who was preparing his meals or their work conditions.
And that is another piece of BS that the mainstream media says, oh, Mr. Packer couldn't have known. They are having full unfeathered access to the hotels. There's no world in which this Packer guy was not going to a restaurant, was not actually stepping foot inside the buildings where the children were working. So this idea that nobody knew, no one had a shred of a clue, is as false as the pathetic BS that is getting washed up, providing cover for the billionaire. Oh yeah, you probably didn't know who was doing this. I mean, you see it, the whitewashing, you see the soap and bubbles. And again, this is the corporate media from Australia. This is somebody that has had more access to the Scientology hotel story than anyone else. And they're still going with this false pitch that, oh, there's no indication that he could have ever known. All the adults that visit these hotels are aware of kids being involved. In what world are they blinded? It's not like we were being kept in a vault. It's not like we were being kept underground. It's not like we were not being put on front lines. So this couldn't be more of an open secret between all the adults becoming paid members of a hotel where they tap children to service them. In what world is a billionaire not aware that that does smell like a rat? Literally.
What did you cook for him? Do you remember?
Oh, just like steak and chips or a nice salad or omelets, those kinds of things. It had to be nice. Like it wouldn't just be sloppy. It had to be nice.
See, it had to be nice. It couldn't be sloppy. And again, to the point of the Scientology mother, you guys, because remember how the Scientology mother was like, oh, it doesn't have to really be perfect. Don't expect a 6-year-old to cook you a perfect meal. That is complete and utter BS. Going back to the point, these adults are running with a pitch that all children are adults, and they take that pitch to the extreme. So call that self-infantilization. All Scientology parents infantilize themselves and adulticize the children. It couldn't be more of a disgusting power dynamic imbalance inside of the hotels for these billionaires who, love to get serviced by underage kids, love to find hotels that provide that type of service. Literally.
Mr. Packer left Scientology around 2008. It would be more than 2 years later until Shane made his break for freedom.
And there you go, you guys. There you go with, again, the billionaire class of Scientology using, tapping children to service them. Getting off on that level of depravity, getting off on that level of power, dynamic, and balance that their daddy figure, L1 Hubbard, really pitched to them was so attainable if only they really came together, all the Scientology parents. If only they all just donated their children to be abused. If only I could get all the Scientology parents to agree my child is fair game to be abused by whatever Scientology adult is frequenting the hotels. And just like that, you have all these kids being put in harm's way by who? The Scientology parents. As much as all of this hoo-ha has been done to make David Miscavige the boogeyman of the century, it's the Scientology parents who groom their kids and put them in harm's way to be abused, to be bastardized by a system that purports that a child can take it upon themselves to become a slave. So good luck, Australia. Good luck, America, running this campaign of making child slavery great again. Good luck explaining yourselves in this year 2024, where the children that you all turned into slaves are demanding answers that make a shred of sense. This is called state-sponsored child trafficking of minors. So it's not just Scientology committing the crime, is it? Who are the co-conspirators? Who are the enablers of the child traffickers? Why are the child traffickers being enabled to traffic kids at an industrial size scale inside of these hotels? Why is that happening, Australia? Why is that happening, United States of America? Because that's the answer that we need. Right the F now. Thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe on your way out, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.